Greetings, 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 good people. I'm going to talk slowly. You know how they say, let me just give some people time to get in here. I didn't start my little pre video, so we're just going straight in live. But I will say, my name is Barbara Ohuninifa. It's what I go by more likely these days. It's a more spiritual name for me. Also, Barbara Pamplin, Barbara Williams. Some of y'all know me as Beat Up from back in the day. But I am the same person, more or less. I'll say more or less because we've been through some things. But today I am here talking with the sister, which I'll bring on in a minute. And we're going to talk about, as you saw from the title of this, Pilates ain't just for rich white women, like for real. And we have a workshop coming up this weekend, and the name of that workshop is Up Space Sis. And that's the idea that we have not always felt welcomed in Pilates studios. We have not felt welcome in a lot of places, but in particular Pilates studios. And maybe not even thought about doing Pilates, or maybe don't even know what Pilates is. Well, today we're going to learn a little bit. We'll learn a little bit about Teresa. She has her Pilates studio, has been working in fitness for, I think it's almost 20 years, but we'll talk about it. And she's my Pilates instructor. And I can tell you the way that I have gotten mobility back, the way that I have reclaimed my body has just been phenomenal through Pilates. And I was introduced to Pilates shortly after my time in the hospital of having multiple open heart surgeries, and really just needed to reclaim my body, not only physically after physical therapy was done and getting back into needing to continue to heal. And, physical therapy was done in terms of what the insurance would cover. And Pilates really helped me to continue that work. But even on an esoterical level, it helped me to re-inhabit my body because I had, died and came back so many times. Really filling in every crevice of my body, inhabiting my body, learning how to use it, how to optimize it. Was really important. And so I'm going to stop talking and bring on my sis here because I'll keep going. Ashay.
Hello.
In there looking fabulous. Oh, I love that pillow. Black women. What now? What?
It's a beautiful day to be a Black woman.
Ain't it though? I don't care what they say. I don't care what they come in to us with. It's always a beautiful day to be a Black woman. And that's part of the mission for me, is helping Black women remember who the fuck we are. And that's kind of a message that my ancestors gave me to me, talk to me. So as I'm walking that path, trying to remember who I am, I'm like, okay, sis, the more of us remember who we are, the better it is for me too. So
yes. When I moved, it was one of the first things I bought because no one puts their head on this pillow. It's like, no, you cannot. This is art.
This art, it's a declaration, it's a little biblical, it's all the things.
Yes.
Don't get me started. Black women are dope. And so are you. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for agreeing to do the workshop. I know it fascinates me that you get up in the morning and you're doing Pilates in the morning, you're doing it in the evening, you got your personal practice. You must be strong as shit. You must be super strong. Like, I couldn't even imagine. That's dedication to your craft.
I'm able to push through in some things. I can't push a car by myself, but I'm strong, but I would like to say that my squad is stronger than me.
That's what I'm talking about. I love it. It. So let's take a step back.
Stronger than I am. So say it again.
I was saying, let's take a step back and just introduce yourself to the folks and let us know, how you got started in Pilates, because I want to go into your style, and your approach is so accessible for us. But let's start with where you started.
Okay. My name is Teresa Ellis, and I am the owner of Pilates Bar and Jams. I've been in the fitness business since 2008. I did not start, and I've been teaching Pilates since 2018, I think. Yes, but I started my business in 2017. So I started as a bar instructor teaching bar classes, which is, that combination of yoga, Pilates, ballet bar. And then I took an actual Pilates class and I was like, oh, this is like going to the source, like this is going, like everything that says they're Pilates inspired is like a stream from the source. And when I went to the source, I was like, oh, I want to do this and explore this. And I sustained an injury riding my bike to LA from San Francisco with AIDS Life Cycle. And it was the only fitness modality that helped me walk. And so I was like, okay. So I've been in the fitness biz for 15 years, not 20, almost 5 years away.
So I'm future tripping. That's where I'm at.
I like it. So that's how I got into it. So I got into it. Actually, how I got into it is a little bit more. Okay. So I was teaching the fitness. I was telling a friend of mine who was also a personal trainer at the time who just became a Pilates teacher. And I said, we can't age out being personal trainers. I go, oh, my body won't be able to take it, teaching, dance fitness classes and all the things, even though I could, when I'm like 75, but I don't want to, so I want to be able to, we have to either teach Pilates or yoga because it seems like it's the only fitness modalities out there that you can actually be older and still be respected, not being like, I'm not going to go to this old person's Zumba class. You know what I mean? So
right.
I'm not saying that it cannot be done, but I was like, I'm not trying to fight that hard. And so she was like, okay. And then maybe within that year, within 12 months, I was in Mexico randomly, ran into someone I hadn't seen in a really long time, came back to the States, and she contacted me and she said, I want to teach you Pilates. I want to train you in Pilates. And she was a white woman. And she was like, because I can't go into your neighborhoods teaching because everyone's going to look at me like I'm crazy. And I was like, you're absolutely right.
I'm glad she knows.
And she was like, so let me train you so you can teach your peeps. And I was like, excellent. So that's how it started.
Let me pause there for a second because that's powerful. Because I live here in Seattle and we have a lot of white women that's up here teaching African dance class. I'm gonna just say it. So instead of supporting and using their privilege in a way that woman did for you, like, I have something that I know, let me teach you so you can give it to your people and you can make a living with it. It's not about me. That's right. The way. That was the beginning of the decolonization right there.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
It was really impressive. And so I was like, okay. And so I started with her and she wanted to do it for free. And I was like, and at the time I was like, no, for me, I was like, well, let me just put a little bit in the game. So we came to a very nominal fee and every Friday for a year, I went and trained with her and didn't test out or anything with her. And then, so that ended. And then I did a bridge program and I got comprehensively certified through another Pilates teacher training. And that was in 2018. And I'm looking
around because I need to plug in my computer. Keep talking.
Okay. And so that's how I became Pilates certified, and I love it. I love it very, very much. And it's like I said, the one thing that is healing my body. I feel like I've been constantly healing my body over and over again, like from the ride, and then I injured it again, and then I'm healing it again. And it's just like, and then as I'm aging and I'm seeing all the other aches and pains, and I'm like, oh, if I do my practice, then I won't hurt. So I'm learning, and I love it. And it's I love it because it just makes me be present. I can't think of anything else of my day when I'm in practice doing Pilates, because if you'll miss it because it's so succinct. And so you have to give it 100% of your attention, which I appreciate because there's a lot going on in my life And if I can just focus on myself and how my body moves, that makes me happy and always has.
And that is so key, because we tend to live our lives in our head so much, thinking about the next thing we have to do, what we should have done, what we should have said, what we could have said, what we need to do for
Right.
that person. And it becomes overwhelming. And so many of the things, from a mental health perspective. But we were just in a workshop yesterday talking about psychedelics for mental health. And there's so many mental health markers that impact Black women. And that's the spiritual mental part of it is first, and then it comes into your body and manifests as some kind of disease or some dysfunction of some area of your body. And then there's more healing to do. But if we can do
Right.
things like bodies, to your point, and just keep things, I picture it as like, I'm just keeping everything moving and lubricated.
Yes.
The
Yes. I always
deepest,
say,
deepest parts of yourself.
yes, right? I always say, like, I have my bones in alignment, and then I'm like molding my muscles around my bones to keep me in alignment so I can move and be lubricated and do all of that. And it's really important. And like you said, with the psychedelic stuff, like I've done psychedelic journeys for my mental health with my therapist. So that's powerful within itself. So to be able to do that work and then come back and be in my body within that is very powerful. And
Absolutely.
and that release, to be able to then hold, like, release the stuff and then be able to be in your body, and then to work with all the things without holding everything is really important.
Hmm.
Everything is connected, just how all the bones are connected, or how the muscles are connected.
Absolutely. I even think about it. I don't know if you might remember a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, time goes. I tend to have these like circle healing sessions, and then they're scheduled right before a Pilates class. So I go from crying and letting stuff go. And then I'm like, all right, let me sweat it out, or let me come into Pilates. And it's always the perfect combination. Because then there's
Nice.
not enough. Like, I've released some stuff, freed up some space, and then re-inhabited that space with the Pilates. I always
Yes, and re-inhabited
that
your
way.
body as well. Like, you took up space within your body instead of all the other things that you were saying taking up
Yeah.
space. Like, everyone holds space differently in their bodies. Like, I hold it in my low back and in my pelvis and in my hips. And
Hmm.
when I do my work and then I do my movement and my everything, like what you do with your circle, I am like, wow, like, much more of me is able to take up me instead of
Absolutely.
all the other bullshit to take up me.
Exactly, right? And then, so when you think about, so your approach to Pilates, I mean, it's grounded, and I love it. I don't know. I think it's different because I've never actually taken your standard Pilates class, because I wouldn't survive it. I would wind up walking out. But your approach, and I know you even you reference decolonizing it, and I love the way you give like 4 or 5 different options on how to do a thing. So however your body is feeling, it's accessible to you. But talk to me a little
Yes.
more, or talk to us a little bit more about why you would approach it the way you do, and this whole for everybody approach.
Well, as a Black queer woman in the world, walking around the world, I interact with all the peoples in my community, specifically my queer community. And within my queer community are all the body types that everyone says are bad, that the status quo says is bad. Sorry, my dogs are just now starting to fight for whatever reason. Stop it. And so,
They're like, keep talking, let's get it.
right, she's talking. Let's bother her. So they're just now starting to fight. I mean, no. So they're just now. So people are in my community of queer people. They have all the different body types with all the different fabulousness things going on with it, whether it be chronic illness of some sort, movement stuff, MS, all the things, fibromyalgia, like all the things, having bigger bodies, all the things. So when I became a Pilates teacher, it was like, how this is my community. How do I help my community without, if I'm doing it this way, that's going to exclude 99% of the people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, the only way that I can make it accessible and available and actually doable for people is if I break it down. It's kind of like if you took a burrito and you put it in a bowl, right? So I just broke it down, and I was like, and this is nice because sometimes you want to work out, but you don't want to go hard. And so
Right.
it's like you showed up, 80% is showing up, right? And so you
Say
showed
that.
up, like sometimes you're like, all I have is 20%. I showed up. And I'm like, great. So take these options. So I call them layered options, where I start at the very basic and then build up to the full expression.
Mm-hmm.
And tell people, like, pick the one that works for you. Like, because you're still getting the workout. You're still working the muscles and building the muscles and strengthening the muscles and doing everything that the full expression is doing, but you're doing it in where you can today. Like I always say, do it like your body. Don't do it like my body, because my body does it differently, And when people see other people, like they think it's a competition of like, I need to be the best at it. I feel like working out in general, people feel like they have to be good at it immediately, even if they've never done it. And you're like, but we've never done this before. So you don't even know what's going on, and you're trying to be perfect at it. Like it's very interesting to watch. And so it's like, I give people permission to be like, but you can just stay here. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, great. It's still gonna be hard. And trust, I'll know when you're strong enough to take it to the next level. And then I'm gonna be like, take it to the next level. And then you're gonna be mad at me. So enjoy this time here. So enjoy this moment of chill time, because I'm about to kick your ass in a few months, you know? So yeah.
It's always so interesting because it's like I said, we walk around in the day where we're in our heads and we're thinking about the next thing we have to do and all the things. And then when you get into this Pilates space and anything that I think is physical work, most folks bring that same mentality, to your point of being competition, trying to see what the other person is doing or wanting to achieve, versus really the true way for Pilates is you're going so deeply internally. Like if you have to lift your pelvic floor, you got to concentrate so you can figure out where that is and how to do that.
Right.
Or using your shoulder, I'm about to mess up anatomy, but if certain muscles that you're using,
yeah,
you got to focus in, and that is so relaxing to do that.
it is. And it's fascinating.
Yes.
Because we forget that we have bones in our body until we break or bruise one. Right. And so we forget that there's bones in there. And, like we are this structure of an amazing piece of a system, right? That is functioning all on its own. And like we breathe on our own, like our brain tells us to breathe, our blood is pumping through our veins, like, we're doing all of these things. We're like, digesting food. And then while we're dancing, like all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like our eyes water, when they need to. And all the system is keeping us alive. I think it's just a common courtesy to just like, put gas in it, which is our food, right? And then maintain it, like get the oil change. Because just like a car, if you don't change the oil, the engine's gonna blow up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you don't lubricate your joints and you don't work out the structure, like, and strengthen it and keep it like together, you're gonna lose it.
Absolutely. And it's so I'm thankful that there are more Black women teaching Pilates now.
Yes.
Because it's not something as simple as this. So I'd say I've not taken your standard Pilates, but I have taken Pilates taught by some decent, let me not say it like that, some white women. But it was always like the adjustment I had to make, because there's certain things, if you got a big gadonk, you got to make adjustments for that gadonk that weren't thought of when Joseph Pilates came up with some of these movements.
Exactly.
Like that are so important.
Right. And that's where it comes down to like knowing where your skeleton is. Hi Nunca. Thank you.
Exactly. She is
Oh,
amazing.
they're
She
so
getting me
sweet.
strong. She getting me strong, like for real.
Thanks, Nimka. Um, it's like knowing where your skeleton is in your body, you're able to line them up.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so people always think about the muscles, and like you have your pelvis and then you have all of the muscles around it, which is your big old booty and your amazing thighs and all of that. But think about lining up everything else, and then everything else will just go in that motion, which is so amazing. And I have to thank like all the amazing people that I've learned from, which are mostly white women, but who I would listen to what they would talk about and I would apply it. And then watching the other white women who were in the same trainings as I was, not necessarily Pilates, but other fitness modalities, and
Mm-hmm.
not apply what this woman was saying. And I'm like, but it applies to everything, not just the not fat people, but to people. Everything she's saying applies to all the people. So why not take the knowledge and apply it? And they really didn't understand that. And I just really was flabbergasted that like some of the women would always be like, well, I don't know how to adjust. And this is before I got into Pilates. I don't know how to adjust fat bodies. And I was like,
It's
and
still a
then
skeleton.
right. And then the trainer would be like, well, yeah, it's a really touchy subject. And I was like, wait a second, you told us to teach to the bodies in front of us. So what is the difference? Like, I am going in there. If you're telling me to adjust the skinny lady, but you're not telling me to adjust the fat lady, I'm doing a disservice to the fat lady who can injure themselves. Like, isn't it my job to make sure? And she would be like, oh, right. Yes. I was like, oh my gosh. It was really interesting and eye-opening because folks were, fitness was created, this whole thing of like, hate your body, make it look a certain way, not necessarily how do you hold yourself? How can you just walk through the day pain-free? But can you like, it has to be like, you have to aesthetically look one way. Aesthetics is one thing. Everything else is so much more when it
Yeah.
comes to movement, And so and because the standard of beauty always is not Black women, but yet white women take on our features and enhance themselves in a way that's very interesting, but yet we're still considered ugly. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's ironic,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you for, I'm noticing this trend, or not trend, but a pattern. So yesterday when we were with Dr. Keisha Holly, she went through the Western medicine and got her degree, and and worked with all the folks to get that, and then went into the indigenous stuff to really learn the psychedelics piece. And I'm seeing that you paid some dues and you got that knowledge. You went and got the training and the certifications and got the information, and then came back and filtered it and reconstructed it in a way for our people. So it's like you went out and got it, and then you're bringing it back to us. And it's the same thing that she did. So I'm saying this is why Black women are so fucking amazing to me. It's like you're doing the thing and bringing it back to your people to help us.
It's like I went to the mountaintop.
You know what I'm saying? You walk through the fire. You walk through the valley of the valley of privileged white women, and you survived. And
I'm back.
You're back.
I got some stuff.
Oh my God. But yeah, so just talking about this workshop a little more. It's coming up on Saturday, and there's ticker information scrolling at the bottom, and it's linked in the description. But we'll talk a little bit. I'm going to talk just a little bit about what those basic principles of Pilates are. And we usually start with that. And I say we because I'm like Pilates adjacent. Like I've gone through training programs, but I ain't never finished any of them because I keep going through physical stuff. But I get it.
You'll get there.
My inspiration. So these ideas around concentration and breathing and control, like it's not about throwing and burning through stuff as quickly as possible. So I'll talk a little bit about that at the beginning. And then Teresa, you're going to take us through, I don't even know something for the accessible, but the way you do it is like everything is accessible. but we'll
Yes.
actually do some Pilates. So bring your mat. Do you want to talk a little
Yes.
bit more about what people should expect or what they should
Yeah, I
bring?
mean, I just come with an open mind, like come in a way where you are gonna, the one thing that I know, like when I first got Pilates certified, I cried a lot in my teacher training because
Mm.
I am a dancer, right? I've been teaching fitness for, by the time I got to Pilates training, I'd been teaching fitness for like, 10 years. And I was like, I got this. I'm totally present. And I was just like, what? I was like, why? And I would just cry. And my trainer was like, yeah. I was like, what is this? She was like, yeah, Pilates is fucked up. And
That's so deep.
I mean, yes, it's an amazing fitness modality to move your body and feel good in it and all the things, but it is like a mind fuck. Like, I mean, you are just kind of like, huh, like if you thought that you were connected to your body, you're not. Like, and like even myself still, and I'm just like, I have to stay fascinated and curious about how my body moves. And I have to be like, are you rushing this, or are you really trying to focus on how you're moving your body in this? And so I would say, come with a very open mind, come with, I am just a blob and I'm just going to do what she says. And that's all I can ask is like, just do what I tell you to do. Don't assume that I'm about to say something because I'm going to be like, that's not what I'm going to say. Like don't think 4 steps ahead of me because I'm still at step 1. Right.
And every step is important.
Yeah. So just, it's like, put your right foot. It's like, the hokey pokey, right? You put your right foot in, but you don't take it out. You wait. That's what they tell you to do.
Simon says,
You're not just shaking it around. I haven't said it yet. Like, so, you want to, you want, it's like doing the hokey pokey. You just take your time. You just have a moment. You just be in that deliciousness. And it's really fun to be like, how do I relax my right butt cheek?
And actually, I have the control to do that.
Right.
It's not all willy-nilly.
Yeah. Or you could be like, oh, my shoulders are always up. Oh, I'm always clenching my teeth. Like you will find ways to like, I mean, not in one class, but you'll notice you're like, oh, a lot of people move from their knees when they walk. They don't move from their hips. People just shuffle along, and a lot of people move from their extremities than from their center, which is why backs are always being thrown out because they're not actually taking the whole time to move with their entire bodies, Like when you roll up, people are like throw their head up and they're not even all the way up yet. And that's, how they hurt themselves. It's really interesting just to see like how the bones and the muscles move together. So I would say, bring a mat, bring a towel because you might sweat, bring some water, take breaks, and just come fascinated to learn how amazing your body is. Like that's really the fun part, is just to see how amazing it is. We'll probably do like 3 exercises. We'll do more, but it'll feel like you've been there for 8 years and 45 minutes.
It's fascinating. I'm telling you, like if you go through I went through a couple of months, and I went through a couple of months of after surgery recovery of just not really walking much, like the most recent surgery. And then when I would go out to walk, my back would hurt. Like, I'm not talking about just like walking to the car type stuff, like not even exercising. I was like, what the hell? And so came back to Pilates because I had, been dipping off. And then like in 2 weeks, like, oh, now I can walk a solid 15 minutes before I have to take a break. Before it was like 2 or 3. And it's only been 2 weeks. And it's like the areas that you target with Pilates are all the areas that we need to strengthen and have flexibility and lubrication to just be functional.
Yes, it's true. No, well, I'm not. Yeah, have you done one? I've never done one.
Hell no. But I'm up here where there's people who do that. That's why I came to mind in Washington.
Yes. Right. So just the other day, and I wrote this in the newsletter this week, like last week I went to the post office and I walked in, and there was this older man, senior man, walking towards the door. He was like 10 feet from the door, and he was shuffling along. And I walked in and I saw him, because I have this thing about elders. Like, if I see them, I'm always, especially if they're moving slow, I just stop and I watch, because everyone's moving fast. No one sees them, a lot of elders are invisible to humans, right? So I was stopping and I watched him, and then he was like, you could see him like moving towards the door, and I was like, let me just get this door for this man. So I just went and opened the door for him, and of course everyone was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's fine, I got it. And so he's like, thank you so much. And I opened the second door for him, and he looks me in my eye as he goes out the second door, and he says, don't end up like me. And I just looked at him and I was like, okay. And you could just see that he was just like, and he shuffled to his car with his little cane. I did my post office stuff. I was in the post office for like 7 minutes. By the time I got out of the post office, he was just backing out of his parking spot. So it took him that much time to get to the car. I don't understand how he was driving, but I had just, recommitted to doing my daily Pilates practice, and I had just done it before I went to the post office. And I was like, you have to heed what your elders tell you, right? And I was like, this man just told me to do my to make sure my body stays moving. He has no idea what I work in the fitness. He has no idea what I do for work. He was like, don't turn out like me. Like, he is bummed that he didn't listen to the people that said you need to do the things in order to keep it moving. And so I was like, and the thing is like, it's not to be skinny or whatever. It's just to have a little bit more ease.
Yes.
Right? Just a little bit more ease. Like, can you be a little bit less pain, just a tiny bit less pain? Like, I have a hip thing. My hip has not been hurting me this week as much as it has in the previous weeks, because I've been consistent. And I'm like, yep, this is where I live now.
Exactly. And it's like that, I love that word, and we're using it more and more these days, ease. Because we have not had a lot of ease. So what are the things that we can do, change in our lives and do for ourselves? Because I mean, this whole series, this Embrace Your Power retreat series, it kind of kicked off around International Self-Care Day. So how can we do things that can help us to take care of ourselves? And if I want to be able to travel, I want to be able to, to go different places. I want to be able to dance. I want to be able to get close to dropping it like Megan with the knees. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I'm saying I can try. I need to be able to move.
Yes, girl. I am dropping it like it's tepid. My knees can't do that, but I could just get down there. I don't know what Megan Italian knows.
I can't even imagine. I don't even know. I don't know if my knees ever were able to do that, but more power to her. But to your point, and the elders' point is like, we got to think about where we want to be 5, 10 years, however long, however old we are now, there's only time ahead of us. Yes. How you want to move your body then is going to be dependent on how we move our body now.
Right.
Exactly. And I'm saying it to myself so I can make sure I'm having my ass in Pilates this evening.
You gotta come to class.
For real.
But I mean, ease is the thing. Like, it's more than that's right, Nuka. Drop it like it's tepid. It's it's just, it's a feeling. And I know for me, like, I want to feel. I've had really bad knee pain. I've had really bad body pains in my body. And I know how, when you're in pain constantly, how that affects your life. Right? And so it's like, okay. And so I worked really hard to not be in pain. And so my thing is, if I have to, and I'm not, I mean, I even tell you, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I always go, oh, my hip feels weird in this one. Oh, my hip is really, and I'm letting you know, because I'm just as human as you all are. Like, I got stuff. I may make it look good, but sometimes I'm suffering. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh shit, you know, like doing the exercise. I'm like, I got to demonstrate this. Okay, here we go. You know, which is like, sometimes I laugh at myself. That's why I'm always giggling when I'm doing it,
You are
because I'm
funny.
like,
You are so funny when you're teaching class. I know you see me. Don't give me an option to say fuck this ball or fuck this prop.
oh
You just
my God. Oh my God. Barbara is like the most perfect. I'll be like, you don't have to use it. Barbara throws her props. I'm like, but keep it close.
I'd be like, oh damn, let me go get it.
You just put it down, you throw it across the room. I'm like, keep it close though. But it's you know, just so I like to give give feedback and commentary of what I'm feeling in my body and what I need to adjust and how it feels, so people cannot have to like be like, I need to push through this pain. I need to do all the things just to make sure that I do it right, because I can tell when you're doing it right and doing it right for your body issues, your injuries, for all of the stuff, like for your body, I can tell that you're doing it. And so I just really appreciate that. And that's why I'm always like, oh, this is how it feels in my body today, because I want you to be like, well, what does it feel like in mine?
Mm-hmm. So for folks that come to the workshop on Saturday,
Yes.
so they bring a mat, bring a towel, bring water.
Open
It's
mind and a sense of humor.
yes. Now cameras on or off, because you know how people be sometimes.
I prefer cameras on. And the reason why is it allows me to see you, and just to make sure, and then I can give like a blanket general um, what's the word, correction, you know, so I can be like, oh, make sure that this is happening. However, if you want, you can put like a yes by your name, and that says that I can like call you out and be like, Barbara, fix your foot, you know, make sure you're doing da da da. But I prefer cameras on, just so I can see you, so I can see the bodies in front of me, because if we were meeting in person, you wouldn't put a blanket on you. You wouldn't do it in a
Don't look
tent.
at me.
Say it
Don't look at
again.
me. You're like,
Right.
don't look at me. Just tell me what to
Right.
do.
Right. Like so that I prefer to be able to see you, because we're not in person. But if we were in person, you would be right in front of me, but you wouldn't bring a tent and pitch a tent, be like, I'm going to do it in a tent and zip it up and just listen, you know? So it just gives me an idea of like how the body's moving. Like if you're doing it right, I just want to make sure that I can see the bodies.
Yeah.
Because I can't teach the bodies if I can't see the bodies. I mean, trust and believe, I taught corporate fitness during pandemic online, and 95% of them had their cameras off, and I can do it. However, I prefer to be able
Right.
to see, but I'm not shy, and I will not, I will not be like mad if you don't have your camera on.
Right. I think
Yeah.
it's important for people to understand, especially in this scenario, and this, with Pilates or anything fitness, but especially Pilates, because it's so very specific in terms of how your body is aligned and what you're doing, that
Yes.
the teacher needs to be able to see you to, as Teresa said, to correct, but it's for your safety, to make sure you're not doing something repeatedly with bad form that's actually going to injure you, or
Right.
that, has a reverse effect of what you want it to have. And so
Right.
don't be shy. It's only fam. It's the Black women and
Right.
femmes. We're going to take care of each other.
Yes. Let me take care of you. I feel like I'm an artist, and I want to be able to like art
Yeah.
and choreograph you in the way that it looks beautiful.
Right.
In terms of how you move your body with the ease, and just so I could be like, oh, just relax your, like, it'd be like, relax your right butt cheek. Like if I see it squeezing, I
Mm-hmm.
will be like, can you relax your right butt cheek? Because I have supersonic eyeballs,
You
and a
really
really
do.
big monitor.
It's freaking crazy. Like, I should be seeing the things, but you do, and it's so helpful. I'm
Yeah.
thankful. I'm thankful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's good.
Saturday, take up space, sis. Reclaim your body with Pilates. We getting it popping. The information is in the description and scrolling across the bottom. Share this with folks. Share this with other Black women and femmes that, you know, that need to learn a different way, a new thing that they can incorporate into their healing practice. And, and again, so many of us are going through health issues, whether it's cardiovascular, fibroids, all the things. Pilates is something that will assist and support all the other things that you're going through, and also help with mobility so that you can dance, you can go for walks and have less pain. So I hope
you can play with your grandchildren, your children, you can walk your dogs, you can,
you can get
stand
up and down off the couch without grunting.
Well, you could roll over in bed, like
simple things without grabbing the headboard like I had to do. Like, oh, I need to roll over. Let me grab the headboard for some leverage. Like, really?
right.
What are we doing? Nope.
Yeah. It's being able to like know how to move your body, even if you're grabbing the headboard, just so you're not just throwing yourself and being like, oh, I just tweaked my shoulder, like just how to move. So it's not going to be super challenging. I mean, it's going to be challenging, but I'm not going to like make you do super advanced things. It's going to be a lot of fun of just exploring and playing. So definitely come with a sense of humor, because I'll be cracking horrible bad jokes that I will be laughing at.
So freaking funny. Oh, and then the other thing I will say is that I love that how you name some of the moves. Like, we're doing Xanadu, we're doing pancake.
It just makes more sense.
What's she talking about? But then I was like, oh, I get it. Okay.
It makes it more fun for me to rename a move than I know that a lot of teachers get bored when they're teaching, and so they create amazing combinations that are really hard and like a little bit dangerous. And my thing is, like, if I change the name, I can use it all the time, and therefore it's a little bit more fun for me, and it just makes it my own. Like banana roly poly. I love banana roly poly. Like, it's good.
And it makes it so much, I mean, it's just another part of the accessibility to me, because it's going in my mind in a different way and like going straight to the thing, because it's almost like taking you back to when you were a kid and you were just doing fun stuff with your body.
Exactly.
Banana roly poly just feels different to do. Like, oh, I'm a banana roly poly, and it's
Yes.
I literally see like a banana on the screen at the drive-in or something from when we were little. I think it was a hot dog, but I'm seeing banana. Like, that kind of cartoon is what I have in my mind when you say that.
I love that, because you're a banana, and then you did it perfectly. You're a roly poly.
I love it. So I look forward to seeing folks on Saturday. Really, we're going to have some fun. I'm going to decide if I'm going to just be monitoring or if I'm going to try to have my mat out and do some stuff on Saturday.
You're going to have your mat out and do some stuff.
Okay. We heard it right there. I'm going to be doing some stuff. I'm usually right there anyway, so I'll set it out and I'll get it figured out, because I'm going to need to move my body that day too.
Come move your body. Just come move your body and have some fun, and it'll be really good. It'll be a great way to like start the weekend and have that moment.
Yes.
Of just, it's a new month, and be able to start your new month in Leo season.
Woo, woo, woo. Oh, wait, Leo birthday season, isn't it?
Yes, I'll be 52 in a few weeks.
Girl,
yeah.
woo, woo, woo,
excited.
Woo. Happy birthday to you. Happy. Okay, this is a long version. I will sing the whole long version too.
Gotta break it down now. Okay.
Happy birthday.
Get it.
Happy birthday.
Get it.
See, us in one place. All right, y'all. Come on Saturday. We're going to have some fun.
We'll see you on Saturday.
See ya. Oh, Dabo. Peace and blessings.